Yep, this is a passion project. I get to do you a passion review. Why? Because Entourage, the movie, is coming out this Friday. Some of you may or may not know Entourage was actually a series on HBO. If you didn't know that, I'm surprised, and it probably means you weren't looking forward to the movie. Which now I'm going to talk about the series, which means now you can look forward to the movie. Life. It works. Entourage, the series. So Entourage was a series on HBO that went for about 2 seasons too long. Doesn't mean it wasn't great though. It follows Vinny Chase, who's this actor, just one of those 1 in a million shots. He became a big star. Actually starts out when he's kind of a rising star, but ultimately it concentrates on his group of friends, his entourage. The internet's bigger now. We have social media, so we're all kind of interconnected with everything. But at the time, this was our look into Hollywood. This put you right there on Sunset Boulevard. It put you in the meeting rooms. You felt like you were part of this entourage and your best friend's like this huge movie star. You feel like you are there in Hollywood among the shit-stained, smoggy-ass skyline. So first of all, what makes this show great, it was the characters. Every character in the show was always likable, but each season, one character had their season where it was them. Unfortunately for Jerry Ferrara, Turtles seasons were kind of like in the last couple, otherwise known as the seasons that weren't as great as the rest. I remember the moment when Johnny Drama became great. Johnny Drama is Vinny Chase, the big movie star. It's his older brother. He came out to Hollywood first. He had his TV show, but he's kind of a washed-up burnout now. I remember the moment in season 3 where he decks Seth Green's friend, and I was like, Johnny Drama's amazing. Then you watch the show again, and you're like, no, he was always amazing, and I just didn't see it. Every character in this show resonates with a different part of you, the best of which isn't even part of his group of friends. It's his agent, Ari Gold, played by Jeremy Piven. This guy is the best. Always. Even in the seasons that you don't like so much, Ari Gold is always great. You can actually YouTube Ari Gold's best moments or something like that. There's a 1.5 zillion videos of that shit out there, but ultimately it's best to watch it in the show, so the stress of the situation makes his reaction just funnier. And what I love about this show is the actors who are like guest spots in the show, they play themselves most of the time. Seth Green is in this show and he plays Seth Green, but a douchier version of Seth Green. And I love it when actors can do that. They're like, all right, yeah, I'll play myself, but I'll play like a shittier asshole version of myself, and he just has fun doing it, and I love it when an actor can kind of laugh at himself like that. The first thing I ever heard about Entourage, I heard about it when it was in season 2, which I think is probably my favorite season. I heard it was a show about James Cameron is going to do an Aquaman movie and these guys want to be in it. That's what I knew about it, and that's ultimately what season 2 is. James Cameron is going to do Aquaman, and Vinny Chase wants to be the star of Aquaman. I watched it, and then I watched the rest of the show as it came out, and I've watched the show in its entirety probably 4 or 5 times. But it's not perfect. Ultimately, the show started to make mistakes. First of all, they tried to integrate this one character named Dom in season 3. Wasn't working for me or any of my friends ever. It was a perfect crowd before. You had your crew. You know them. You love them. You like what we have together. I say we because I'm vicariously projecting myself into the show, which the show wants you to do, but it just makes me codependent as shit. And I know that. Don't care either. So Dom comes in and he's a total douchebag knucklehead who just starts to take over everyone, and he's just ultimately trying to overpower everyone. He's trying to force his way into the friendship, and you're like, if you went about it a different way, I'd probably roll with it, but you didn't, so I want you gone. And they write him out of the show very quickly. He shows up in a couple of later seasons, but ultimately, you're done. You don't have to worry about it. Later on in the show, they do try to integrate a new guy into the group, but they do it in a much smarter way. They do it because he and Eric, Vinny Chase's best friend, their goals align, and so they kind of work together, and then they realize, oh, okay, yeah, we can all kind of be friends now. They don't try to shove it down your throat in a way that's very intrusive, and you just want them to stop. And the last couple seasons, I've already bitched about it in this video, but I'll tell you why. The thing I love about Entourage is it goes through this actor's phase, him rising, him having his blockbuster, him doing his indie movie, him falling from grace, and in that, you're going to see a lot of phases of an actor's life, including the drug addiction. That's right, the fun entourage romp that we're having in Hollywood became the downward spiral depression of death that is the drug addiction season, where his girlfriend is Sasha Grey, played by Sasha Grey. That's right, that'd be the porn star Sasha Grey, who has 0 personality whatsoever. This is Sasha Grey being really excited. This is Sasha Grey really shocked. If there's not a cock in or next to her, no energy whatsoever. Then that wraps up. The last season hits. Vinny Chase is doing his thing again, but ultimately it doesn't feel the same because everyone's kind of moved on to different phases of their lives, which I get, and I want to see that. I want to see the characters evolve. That's not the problem. The problem is the phase in which they start to really do that was the season you don't want to remember. So now you're in the final phase, which is the last season of the show, and it's shorter than the rest of the seasons, and it's this really rushed romance he has with this girl. He gets married to Alice Eve, and that's the end. It's really not a spoiler. It sounds like I just ruined the show for you. I really did not. Because if you're gonna follow my advice, you're gonna watch it through season 6 and then you're gonna stop. I mean, is Alice Eve even in the movie? Are they married? And like, is she just gone now? Am I to believe the last season mattered at all? I was really surprised in marathoning this show the last couple seasons, the drug addiction season and the last season, it wasn't as annoying when you can just marathon the whole thing. Waiting week to week, that's the downer. You're like, ugh, another episode that didn't have the energy that I'm used to. All right, let's wait for next week. Oh, rinse and repeat. Guys, the last 2 seasons for me aside, in the end, Entourage is a great show with great characters, great energy. It's relatable, it's funny, it's really fast. If you like all that shit, you'll probably watch Entourage the series. If you haven't yet, I am thoroughly surprised and I am thrilled that I get to bring that to you. If you don't like it, if you don't like a group of dudes and their whole bromance together and they're in Hollywood living it up trying to get chicks, you probably won't like the show. But now, if you're interested and you've never seen it, you're now challenged to catch up on the show before the movie comes out. It's gonna be hard to do, that's a lot of hours. But hey, who wants the easy road, right? So Entourage, the series on HBO, have you seen it? What did you think about it? Whatever you thought, comment below, let me know. And as always, if you like what you've seen here and you want to see more, click right here to see more.